What would have happened if Dutch followed the original plan? For those who don't know, the original plan of Dutch was after Coulter, they were going to go back out west to New Austin. However, as you know, if you probably played Red Dead 2 or watched any Red Dead 2 video, they went out more east to like the Santa Ana Lemoyne area, slowly. And obviously, there's a few things that you might have pointed out, and I'm going to be going all of the obvious ones, and a few you might not have known that would happen if they went back out west. Number one, the first thing we're probably all thinking is obviously Thomas Downs lives in the Valentine area. So if Arthur and the rest of the gang were to go back to New Austin, that would have meant Arthur never would have got TB. Now, another thing that also would have happened is most likely Dutch would not have gone insane, because if they had not gone out east with the trolley robbery and Dutch like hit his head, kind of making him go insane, he might not have been as insane by Red Dead 1. And by the way, there will be 5 reasons, and we're already at number 2. Anyway, also, Hosea, Lenny, Sean, and most other gang members, aside from the Callagher brothers and Davey, most likely would not have died during the events of the story. And most likely, John still would be a deadbeat father without like the whole Jack getting captured multiple times. He may have changed his ways eventually, however, it would be probably at a different time. Could be earlier than what happens in the game, or could be later. However, that time would definitely change. Another thing that would happen is that Dutch, obviously with Hosea back, Micah, Hosea not dying, Micah would most likely be kicked out of the gang for his shenanigans. Obviously, he was on, as we see in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, Dutch, likes Micah, but doesn't like him all that much because of what he did at Blackwater, and he's on the verge of kicking Micah out. So I feel like if he didn't go insane, if he made one more, huge mistake, Dutch would have kicked him right out, especially with Hosea as, authority. And not to mention, with Hosea back, most likely, knowing how Hosea wanted the gang to have, happy lives and stuff, most likely when the gang ended, it would have just ended, and they would have all went their separate. Now, I know I said there's only be 5 things, but there's also going to be one last bonus thing that you probably all thought of. Mary Linton and Arthur could have gotten back together. I mean, after all, the gang was already kind of dying from the start of the game. So eventually it was going to come to a wrap-up. As I mentioned, Hosea probably would have just let it end peacefully. So obviously they'd all go have their separate lives. Meaning, Mary and Arthur could get married. Considering the only reason that was keeping them apart was that Arthur was in the gang. Sure, you could argue it was partially from her father, but after the mission in Chapter 4, I don't think she cared that much anymore. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for 95 subscribers. We're very close to 100. Have an amazing day, and goodbye.